If you're a life insurance agent, you should know by now that the most important activity you need to be developing is generating leads. Without leads in the life insurance business, you're without a job. You effectively wake up unemployed every morning without anybody to see. So in this video, I'm going to show you my top 3 ways to develop insurance leads. Coming up right after this. Greetings out there, it's Dave Duford at Final Expense Agent Mentor at FEAgentmentor.com, and the title and topic of today's video is my top 3 ways to develop insurance leads. Now just a note, these lead generation tips are relevant for any particular industry you're in. If you sell traditional life insurance, you sell Medicare, you sell property and casualty, commercial insurance, or anything, these tips work for whatever it is that you're doing. So it doesn't matter. Pick one that you like, that sounds the best for you, and run with it. That's the key with any prospecting and lead generation type of activities. You got to do a lot of it to make any kind of success out of doing it. So here's my first tip. Do speaking engagements. One of the great things about doing lead generation is that with speaking engagements, you get the leverage quantity. When you get up and speak in front of somebody, you've got the ability to get not just one person at a time or maybe 2 in a typical sales call, but up to endless amounts. And when you do more speaking engagements, first of all, you develop trust, you develop rapport, and there's a lot of that stuff that you normally have to develop and skepticism to overcome that you don't have to, because you've already set yourself up as the expert by getting in front of people and speaking to them. So when you do some kind of speaking engagement, you got to make sure you try to develop leads from them and actively have people give you their information, whether that's doing some kind of drawing or doing some kind of prize or handing out even a placard that says, write your name down if you want more information about how this works. You got to be proactive about collecting names from people that you see during your speaking engagement. Let me give you an example. I sell final expense insurance. I teach agents how to give seminars in facilities that have elderly people, because final expense is sold to elderly people. They're very easy to do, the method's easy to teach, and there's all sorts of places and opportunities to make it happen. And the way that we get information from these people is we raffle a gift card. People have to put their information down for a drawing to get the gift card if they may win. And so that information we use is essentially our lead card that we go out and see people with. It works well. I love doing it. And you can leverage it because you can see all sorts of people and get great results. I've actually have an agent this week who sold, $7,000 over the past 2 weeks in final expense business. Commissionably is probably about $7,000 to $8,000 depending on what products he wrote. And he probably spent $200 on food and gift cards to do it. I think that's awesome. My number 2 tip is cold calling. Now here's the thing. With marketing and the advent of Facebook and online marketing, that's kind of the thing as far as developing leads. But the reality is now more than ever, there is more people who aren't cold calling, traditional methods of getting out in front of people face to face. If you look at a lot of the big industries, and not necessarily in insurance, they're all still getting out there knocking on doors, seeing people. And there's really, in many cases, that's the only way to get in front of people, because people are busy, they're not as responsive to paid methods of lead generation. And so if you can do more work to get out and see people face to face, you're going to see there's a lot of opportunity in making sales that way. So cold calling, how do I mean exactly? I think the best thing to do is to go door to door. If I was a life insurance person that was focusing on term or basic traditional products, I would go door to door to businesses, small businesses particularly, because it's easier to talk to the guy running the show. And they've got obligations of which you can sell them insurance to cover. And there's so many businesses out there that never see an insurance man like they did 20 years ago, 40 years ago. So you're going to be the only guy out there. I learned from a very well-regarded trainer that the goal of door knocking is to do 30 knocks a day if you're selling business to business. So that's 150 knocks a week. Of that, you should be setting 10 to 15 appointments, selling 3 to 5 policies. They're out there, the business is out there. And the thing is, when you sell to businesses, the reality is that these people respect what you do, because it takes balls to go door to door and to show up in front of people who are strangers and ask for an appointment on the spot about showing them what you do. So do that. That's what I would recommend. If you sell residentially, you can definitely go door to door. If you sell mortgage protection, get a list of mortgages that have been enacted in the past week or two and just door knock that list. I mean, there's power in just doing something like that as well if you don't want to pay for leads. So my third way to develop leads is through paying for your own leads. Now, this method is the easiest way to generate leads. You don't have to stand in front of a group and get freaked out, or go cold door knocking and get freaked out. You can get these leads that people send information off and then go see them. In many industries, this is how many people are successful. I see it in mortgage protection. It's primarily lead generation business. I see it in Medicare business. I see it in final expense. Those businesses, if you can get a lead type that appeals to a mass quantity of people and you can leverage that, you can have a great business where you don't have to necessarily cold call. The thing is try to find something that actually is verifiably working. You don't want to try a lead type that you've developed that you don't really have any backing or past experience with, because you might find out it's a bad deal and waste thousands of dollars. Whereas if you just did some seminars and kind of got a little uncomfortable, you would have made a lot more money without so much financial risk. So to recap, seminar marketing is awesome for any kind of insurance business. Cold calling is excellent because nobody's doing it anymore. There's so many people you can reach that marketing would never touch because people are so tired of getting marketing. And number 3, paid marketing works if you're in a field where there's a mass market of people that you can target. Pick one of those and run with it and do a hell of a lot of work. That is the key with any of them. Don't do a little bit of everything because you're not going to be effective. Just take a style of marketing you love and leverage it to the max, and you'll find you'll do well as long as you do your job. My name is David Duford at Final Expense Agent Mentor. Thanks for watching. The last thing I'll tell you before I go, if you have any interest in the final expense field and you have not joined already, if you click this button up here, you're going to join and enter to join my No BS Final Expense newsletter. In that newsletter, I give all sorts of free information on training regarding sales calls, appointment setting scripts, live sales calls, samples, as well as door knocking scripts. Everything that if you are interested in selling final expense, you need to be successful in the final expense business. So join. I also send a Wednesday newsletter every week. You just get one newsletter a week from me with all sorts of training for free. So my name is Dave Duford, Final Expense Agent Mentor. Y'all take care and thanks for listening.